tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your free week.
Hey, good morning. We're just about ready to start Tuesday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. We're in commercial here on radio. Looking forward to the show today. Interesting night at Columbus City Council. Can't wait to tell you about that. And it looks like we got a real good president at Ohio State. I hope he can survive what's coming his way, but you know what? When you go out your way, when you do things your way, you know why you do something, what you believe, and why you believe it, well, then you're usually pretty okay. Whether it works out the way you'd ideally want it to, or the way that, you know, things sometimes do, where they spin out of control and other people put pressure on you. So kudos to Ted Carter, and that's what we're going to get into here in a few seconds. Thanks for joining us, and hang around. It'll be an action-packed first hour. I made a friend when I first came to Columbus back in the late 1980s. I had a great job. He had a similar job. We grew very close. He was married, I wasn't, but we shared a lot of the same things that we like to do. We like to play tennis. We like to play golf. We were both into sports. We were both sports writers. We have not been close for a while. Our political views diverged quite some time ago. But it was a good friendship. And he said something to me one time when they started to have kids and their kids started to grow up. He said something to me that I have never forgotten. He said it as a joke, but it had truth behind it. One or maybe both of his kids were unruly, wanted something he and his wife weren't about to bend to the children's unreasonable demand. And he said, "We do not negotiate with terrorists." He was obviously exaggerating. His kids were not terrorists. Kids were great kids. But we have changed now, not just in our parenting, where we do negotiate with children, social emotional learning in schools, and being very concerned about what kids think about how their teachers are treating them and whether their teachers are responsive. We've seen the results of it over the last decade or so. We're seeing the results of it play out on our college campuses. We're seeing it play out at 15th and High at Ohio State, and we saw it play out last night in the Columbus City Council chambers. Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. That's where we'll start. Columbus City Council chambers, where last night some of the protesters who've been arrested at Ohio State for not obeying clearly articulated rules about the prohibition against encamping on the South Oval, about chanting anti-Semitic things, about not complying with law enforcement, OSU police, State Highway Patrol orders. Well, the people who were arrested for not doing what they were told to do, not doing what the authorities on campus said they should do, they showed up last night at Columbus City Council, and I love the headline. This is the perfect 2024 headline. Protesters, Columbus Dispatch, protesters demand Columbus City Council drops charges against those arrested at Ohio State. If you get a speeding ticket today in the city of Columbus, if you jaywalk, something minor, maybe all you have to do is get a group of people to go to the next city council meeting and demand that the charges against you be dropped. You wouldn't do that because, why? You have respect for authority. You're not a spoiled brat. But the people who were arrested on the Ohio State campus are wild-eyed zealots. And they do not understand. Or if they understand, they do not respect authority. Maybe it's both. Here is one of them. His name is Cheyenne Parsa. Does he sound like a reasonable individual to you? Oh my. He was zip-tied for 6 hours. You know how you avoid being zip-tied? Do what the cops tell you to do. Don't violate Ohio State campus rules. Cheyenne, excuse me, was not the only one who was upset by his arrest for things that were clearly stated would not be tolerated. Here is another. Let me see if I have her name. Let me refresh my memory as to what she said first. Oh. Dragging me through the grass of my oval. Not the oval, my oval. Did you know the South Oval belonged to Dalal Shalash? It's her oval. Now, maybe she's a student. If she is, then I suppose she could make some tangential fractional claim to the South Oval being her oval, whatever little teeny piece of the real estate she feels entitled to because she's, I was going to say because she's paid her student fees and tuition, but what are the chances she's really done that? What are the chances she's not there because she got some scholarship from some woke organization because she's majoring in, gender studies or intersectional colonialization, whatever. Remember the day I read the majors at Ohio State and we couldn't even figure out what is a course you would take if you had this major? We were stumped. Shalal felt dehumanized. Oh, well, this is what happens when you get arrested. It is a humbling experience getting arrested, or as the as the great Maurice Claret once said, in a much different circumstance, but nevertheless applicable to this one, it's a humbling thing being humbled. Yes, it is a humbling thing being humbled. And Shalal and Cheyenne and their little friends in their Palestinian headdresses have found it out. But you know what? I certainly hope Ohio State President Ted Carter holds the line against this nonsense. Because yesterday, Colonel Ted, I like to call him Colonel Ted. I sound like Donald Trump. I call him Colonel Ted. I like Colonel Ted a lot from what I've seen so far. Oh, I can do without the whole, buying into NIL and all that. But I suppose it's a casualty of the job right now. That's the way the rest of college athletics is going. But Colonel Ted yesterday sent what the Dispatch's Sheridan Hendricks, their education reporter, said was a stern email. A stern email. Not just an email, but a stern email. Okay. I don't think emails talk, usually, but Sheridan could tell the tone of the email from what Colonel Ted said. And first, Colonel Ted said he wanted to set the record straight because there have been a lot of things said about the arrests of protesters on campus last, Thursday night? So here's what the email said. What occurred on our campus on April 25th was not about limiting free speech. It was an intentional violation of university space rules that exist so that teaching, learning, research, service, and patient care can occur on our campuses without interruption. Yes, thank you. That's boldly, clearly stated, and it states the obvious, that you can't have a bunch of people congregating on the South Oval because why? It disturbs kids who are studying. Your purpose is learning. It disturbs professors who are either grading papers, teaching classes, or doing research. It certainly could impede access to OSU hospitals, which are very close by, and that could be a catastrophic situation if you needed care. So Colonel Ted is doing what he is, I get it, hired to do, right? He's doing his job. Are these people protesting? Are they doing their job? Well, probably, because they're being paid by Students for Justice in Palestine and George Soros. But that's not a real job. See, that's a phony baloney job. That's one meant to undermine Western civilization and order and culture as it has been operating in Western countries since, at least the start of the American Revolution here. So, it's interesting how Sheridan Hendricks, you can certainly tell which side he's on, because he said, last Tuesday, 2 Ohio State students were arrested during a peaceful on-campus protest. Sheridan deems it to be peaceful, even though they were not complying with police orders. The next day, 3 more people were arrested. Students tried to set up an encampment on the South Oval. He leaves out the fact that that was clearly said ahead of time that it would not be tolerated. Then he said Thursday night, nearly 40 people were arrested. I thought it was like in the high 20s. Wasn't it originally almost 30? Now it's almost 40. The number's growing. After nearly 6 hours of chants, prayers, and reconstruction of tents, I'll add this, in violation of clearly stated rules. Ted Carter's email, back to the Stern, said Ohio State has and always will move quickly to enforce the law and university policy. And he adds, as a public university, this is the OSU president talking, demonstration, protests, and disagreement regularly occur on our campus. So much so that we've trained our staff and public safety professionals on site for student demonstrations for safety and to support everyone's right to engage in these activities. Sadly, in recent days, I've watched significant safety issues be created by encampments on other campuses across our nation. These situations have caused in-person learning and commencement ceremonies to be canceled. Ohio State's campus will not be overtaken in this manner. Hooray for Colonel Ted. Again, you can find his email, you can find his Twitter handle online. Send him a note supporting him, because tell him you appreciate him, that he is doing what you want him to do as president of Ohio State. Oh, this is infringing on free speech, Bruce. I thought you were a free speech absolutist. Aren't you the one who said that if we lose the free speech, we lose the country? Yes, I am the one who said that. But you cannot violate the law according to your whim. That is not free speech. That is anarchy. We have to have order in our society. You can't yell death to Jews. That's been yelled across America's college campuses. You can't block access to campus buildings. That's being done too. And I'll tell you about it next.
35, clear tonight, low 52. Sunny day tomorrow, high at 81. And then for tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low 57.
All right, looking up the name of the UCLA student blocked by crazy Hamas people. Because this kid is very, very impressive. I love the fact that he's wearing his Star of David around his neck. He's a courageous young man. And that's what these kinds of times require, is courage. If you don't have it, your lack of it will allow the losers to win. And if we don't have order in our culture, we don't have a culture, we don't have a society, we don't have a country. So I'm really very much one to admire what this young man did yesterday, how he handled the situation. And what's the saying? All that's required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Let's play a little audio here, see if this works for a segment we got coming up.
How do you feel about them taking over the building right now?
I think that their cause is a just cause, and I hope that the administration really hears their demands. I think they're just demands.
Do you feel like it was right to hold 3 of the janitor workers hostage inside of the building?
I think that's a really false narrative.
That's what the janitors are saying, that they weren't allowed to leave.
I think that that's a really false narrative.
Even if the janitors are saying that, you're saying that that's not true.
I think that it's a really false narrative that the students took anyone hostage.
How do you feel about some of the Jewish students saying that they don't feel safe here on campus?
I think that this is also a really false narrative that's being promoted.
Do you think October 7th and the attack that happened is a false narrative? Do you believe that some of the women were raped?
My colleague just came back.
So this is what happened.
Can you get out of my face, please?
So this is what you see at these protests. Once you get into the nitty-gritty of what happened on October the 7th, the
are on the Salem Podcast Network. Charlie Kirk.
And if any Democrat is out there advocating for Donald Trump to be in a courthouse for September, October, you are a repulsive person. I'm sorry. You are deciding to shred the United States Constitution and our traditions just to try to win an election.
Laura Trump.
This is basic stuff. If things aren't working, you got to change them. That's the problem the Democrats have. All of their policy positions seem so extreme and so crazy, and you look at this and you're like, I don't know, that seems to make a lot of sense to me.
And Trish Regan.
And people that are here legally really don't appreciate all these illegals coming in, depressing wages for the rest of the labor.
Oh, we got to get to Shannon Hardin, the council president. He's so impressive.
They're not having it.
By the way, none of these people arrested at Ohio State will face a single charge because Zach Klein is a spineless coward of a city law director.
Human trafficking is modern
Spineless coward.
and it happens in our own communities. Victims can be any gender, age, or race. Join the Department of Homeland Security's Blue Campaign to learn how to recognize and report this heinous crime. Visit our website at www.dhs.gov/bluecampaign. That's www.dhs.gov/bluecampaign. Your second look could be their second chance.
Try to make it easy for you to do business with me, whether it's on flooring. BruceHooley.com is the place to go. Leave your information. If you need carpet, if you need luxury vinyl plank flooring, looks like wood, looks like tile, I can help you out. Leave your name and information. I'll reach out to you. Also, PatriotSwitch.com. You can find out more about PatriotSwitch.com products. And I saw today that the meat supply in the U.S. may be infected with the bird flu. It turns out that bird flu has affected a lot of the dairy cattle in the United States. You say, well, why would that have any impact on the meat supply? Because, little known fact, a lot of the meat you buy at stores is from dairy cattle that is no longer useful as a dairy cow anymore. It's inferior beef. You'll never have that problem with Riverbend Ranch steaks. By the way, I have a shipment coming today. Can't wait for it. Delicious burgers, New York strip, ribeye, awesome beef. You can set up a bundle to come to your doorstep every month or every other month. RiverbendRanchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley, or for the other things we talked about, BruceHooley.com. So as much enjoyment as I get out of Colonel Ted Carter's email to the Ohio State University community saying that anarchy will not be tolerated on campus and that no matter how many protesters come, they're not going to let them take over the campus. Fact of the matter is, none of these wild-eyed zealots are going to be charged with anything. Well, they might be charged, but they're not going to be convicted of anything. How do I know this? Not because Ted Carter lacks the spine for it, but because City Law Director Zach Klein lacks the spine for it, and Shannon Hardin, the City Council President, lacks the spine for it, and Mayor Andrew Ginther lacks the spine for it. You can be arrested on the Ohio State campus. You're in the city of Columbus. Ohio State doesn't have its own judges to sentence you. No, you got to go downtown and you get handled by the system that is in place in the city of Columbus. And Zach Klein, the law director, is not going to do anything to these people because they were already calling his name last night at city council meetings, demanding that the charges against them be dropped. They approved a 16% pay raise last night for Columbus police. But before they did it, Shannon Hardin had to make sure that he didn't make any enemies by voting for it. So he had to ask the city safety director, were any of our Columbus police involved in that scene on campus? Because if they were, it's going to look really bad if I vote for a raise for Columbus police while I have all these crazy doofuses here yelling and screaming at me about their law breaking, which they now are demanding that we exonerate them from. And Shannon Hardin was assured that no Columbus police officers were on campus and that all the arrests were made by OSU police and by the Ohio State Patrol. By the way, I have a friend who is an OSU police officer. I texted him yesterday, told him I was praying for his safety and praying for discernment, because this is the thing with police officers when you're faced with morons like this and everybody's got a cell phone, is that they can record everything you do, and they put body cams on these cops theoretically for their own protection, but oftentimes the body cam video comes back to haunt the cop when they are baited into a response. And I don't feel like when you wear a law enforcement uniform, you ought to have to take people hitting you, spitting on you, yelling invectives in your face. I just don't feel like that's why I wouldn't be a good police officer, because I'm not sure I'd have the restraint that I would need in those situations, because I wouldn't have any respect for the unhinged views of people who want to exterminate Jews from the planet. Okay? But these police officers at Ohio State have to. And I was struck in my text message exchange with my friend by how, what's a word I would use? Almost hopeless he sounded, in terms of there's just no way for us to win on this. You know, we're out here enforcing clearly delineated rules, but we're going to take criticism no matter what. And, you know, when you do a job and you do it well, you want, at the very least, to be respected for doing the job well. These people on the OSU police force, these people in the Ohio State Patrol, they can't win. They can't win because when protesters like the crazy, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, I was zip-tied for 6 hours. Well, probably because you wouldn't calm down. You know? If you calm down and they get the idea you're not going to be a threat, maybe the zip ties come off, knucklehead. So I just feel really sorry for the police who are called to enforce the rules on campus at Ohio State so that learning can continue, so that finals can happen, so that research can take place, so that access to the hospitals can take place. And I applaud Ted Carter, and I would strongly encourage you to, A, pray for our police officers in this city and on campus, and also to indicate your appreciation for Ted Carter and what he's doing at Ohio State. But listen to Shannon Hardin last night, because he just wants to make sure that, hey, you know, I know I'm the city council president, but, you know, none of this lands on me. Don't blame me.
Is prosecuted or who doesn't.
That's a half-truth, which means it's a lie. This is not the body that determines who gets prosecuted and who doesn't. Well, okay, sure. Zach Klein, city law director, is the person who will determine that. But are you telling me that the mayor and city council can't tell Zach Klein, nip this in the bud? Charge these idiots with everything you can legally charge them with under the law and make it hurt, because when the message gets out, guess what? Their will to do this will melt. But do we have an example of a place where they told kids what was going to happen and then it didn't happen, and what did the kids do? Yeah, we do have that example. Last night at Columbia in New York City, a red line that was issued for 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Encampment's got to go. Everybody's got to stop congregating. Go home. You made your point. 2 o'clock deadline. 2 o'clock deadline came. It's 2:30. Then it's 3. Then it's 4. Then it's 5. Then it's 6. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Oh, wait. Something happened. Overnight, the protesters broke windows and bashed their way into a campus building. The name of the campus building is Hamilton Hall, except not anymore. Now, Hamilton Hall is called Heinz Hall, in honor, the protesters said, of Hind Rajab, a martyr murdered at the hands of the genocidal Israeli state at the age of 6 years old. And they issued a statement, because, of course, none of them will have the courage to take their mask off and face cameras because they might be identified and they might have to get expelled from school, which I doubt Columbia has the intestinal fortitude to do. And the statement said, resistance is justified in the movement for liberation. Yeah, this is what happened at Columbia last night. Now, Ted Carter says this is not going to happen at Ohio State. I hope he's right. I hope he does whatever it takes for it not to happen at Ohio State. Ben Sasse, former U.S. Senator who the University of Florida hired as its president, he issued his own statement yesterday. Here's what it said. I like this statement. Is this stern? I don't know, but it's effective. Here's the statement from Ben Sasse, University of Florida president. This is not complicated. The University of Florida is not a daycare, and we do not treat protesters like children. They knew the rules, they broke the rules, and they face the consequences. Novel concept. Ben Sasse was parented well. Ted Carter was parented well. Ted Carter has a respect for authority. He served in the military, Top Gun guy. Let's hope we have more Ted Carters and more Ben Sasses, because we need them.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Former President Trump is held in contempt of
Oh
court
my goodness, what a train wreck.
$9,000
Like,
fine by the
if you
judge
parented your
siding
kids
over
like
the
this,
New York
unfortunately a
criminal
lot
trial.
of people
The
did,
president cited by the judge
you get this kind of
violating a
nonsense.
gag order. The FBI investigating what turned out to be a
So
deadly
stupid.
day for
Like,
law enforcement in
they are
Charlotte, North
supporting
Carolina
people who went
yesterday.
into
4
Israel
law
during a
enforcement officers
ceasefire,
killed
murdered
while trying to
innocent
serve a
women,
warrant
children,
on a convicted
babies,
felon who was fatally
and would
shot.
gladly, eagerly
Consumer confidence is
do it
measured by
again
the
and
Conference
celebrate
Board
it. They sent
continues to
videos
sink.
of
It's
doing
fallen
it
to a
back
21
home
month low
and
this
celebrated
month.
how many
Consumer
Jews they
confidence
killed.
was
Lose sight of that?
financial
Don't lose
market
sight of
because
that. That's what
consumer
started
spending plays
this.
such a big
Okay?
role in
No, it
the
wasn't
economy.
Israel colonizing Gaza. Wasn't anything like that. Israel's been out of Gaza since 2005.
And the S&P
This is
trading
all
32
utter
points
nonsense. When
lower.
you can't win
More
with the
details at
truth,
srnnews.com.
then you lie, and you should
Biden has started
always
tracking
ask when
Christians
they're
like
lying to me,
cattle.
why are they
Yes,
lying
you
to me?
heard it
Because
right.
they don't have
He
the truth on their
pressured
side.
banks to tag transactions for. One of them is it's a horrifying and
Crazy.
deadly attack
Crazy.
on religious freedom. It's made possible by a digital financial system that makes you a sitting duck. But you do have other options. I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. I'm Lance Wallner, a news analyst, a best-selling author, and evangelical leader to people who cherish their financial independence. The Precious Metals IRA can help you avoid the scrutiny of Biden's anti-Christian bureaucracy while also preserving your retirement savings. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see how a gold IRA can help you. Text FAITH to 989898. There are no strings attached. So text FAITH to the number 989898 right now and take action to protect you.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-47-BIBLE. That's 844-47-BIBLE. 844-47-BIBLE.
We are strong and we'll get through this together, but these are stressful times. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, and know that you are not alone. Visit realbroadcasters.com/hope, furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Well, I love July the 4th. I love celebrating what's great about America. Put flags out alongside my driveway and all that. Maybe you could celebrate July 4th in a unique way. I can't make it, but hopefully you can. The Patriots Alaska Cruise. Dr. Seb Gorka, Mike Gallagher. You will depart Seattle, Washington on June the 29th, and you'll sail up the... No, I guess you don't sail. I guess you motor your way up. That would take a long time to sail. With a lot of wind, make you sail with that many people on this ship. But nevertheless, you will be able to see Juneau, Sitka, Ketchikan, Victoria, British Columbia, and all the beauty of Glacier Bay, Stevens Passage, and Puget Sound. You can find out more about this awesome trip with two of your favorite Salem Radio Network hosts at 9890answer.com. Of course, Dr. G and Mike will be giving talks and lectures along the way, and you'll network with other Patriots. The Patriots Alaska Cruise, June 29th to July the 6th. Hurry and book today at 989theanswer.com. Well, we just passed the first half of the 2024 fiscal year, and we've had 1.7 million illegal entries into the United States over that span. 1.7 million. I know this will not surprise you. The greatest number over a 6-month start of a fiscal year in U.S. history. They exceed by about 200,000, the number that entered in the first 6 months of fiscal year 2023. Alejandro Mayorkas, your Homeland Security Secretary, came up with a special app where you don't even have to cross the southern border to get into the United States. You can apply. There's an app for that. And guess how many people have taken advantage of the app? 404,000. We got Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans granted parole and released into the U.S. 86,000 Cubans, 168,000 Haitians, 77,000 Nicaraguans, and 102,000 Venezuelans, all into our country, vetted and authorized for travel. I mean, like the guy who killed Lake and Riley, I don't remember which country he's from, but a lot of them who have come in via the app have proven themselves to be untrustworthy and criminal. In the first 6 months of this fiscal year, more than 1 million single adults illegally entered. Wait, I thought they were families looking for asylum because they were persecuted or because they wanted to make a better life. They're single. Isn't that interesting? This total is more than the individual populations of Wyoming, Vermont, Alaska, North Dakota, South Dakota, and nearly as much as the population of Delaware. Gee, what could be the purpose in this? Oh, wait, here's another story. A South Carolina state representative, so somebody like Gary Click or Jenna Powell or somebody in your Ohio General Assembly, they have their own state government in South Carolina, noticed something odd this week in a packet that he somehow got access to from one of these people flown into the United States via this app. Now, the welcoming party, when you get here, hands you like, a cell phone, a gift card, and a packet of information about, welcome to the United States. We really need you to vote Democrat. No, maybe. Because here is what one of the forms in the packet from the South Carolina Election Commission said. The headline on it is South Carolina Voter Registration Declination Form. What does that mean, Bruce? It means you have to sign a form to decline the right to vote or to apply to gain the right to vote. Here's what the form says. If you are not registered to vote where you live now, would you like to apply to register to vote here today? Boxes, yes, no. Already registered to vote will use vote registration by mail application. Oh, then there's a place for the signature and the date. And it says, if you believe that somebody has interfered with your right to register to vote or to decline to register to vote, your right to privacy in deciding whether to register or in applying to register to vote, you may file a complaint with the following, the executive director of the South Carolina Election Commission. Now, South Carolina is not New York. It's not California. It's not New Jersey. It's not Illinois. If they are doing this in states that are perceived to be in the Donald Trump column, what do you think they're doing in other states? This is outrageous, and these are the kinds of things that Trump needs to talk about when he reports for his kangaroo court trial every day in New York. By the way, did you see that the judge in the case, Juan Marchand, has fined Donald Trump $9,000 for 9 violations of the gag order that Donald Trump can't talk about any family members of any of the attorneys in the case. He can't talk about the daughter of the judge who's making millions off her association in her public relations business with Democratic candidates. Donald Trump's violated the gag order, and now they're saying if he does it again, they're going to throw him in jail. Do it. Just do it. Please do it. Because every time you do something to him, his poll numbers go up. I'm starting to think Donald Trump can win the election, but then I see stuff like this South Carolina thing, and I'm like, uh-oh. They're going to find a way to steal it. They're going to find a way to steal it. And Trump can sharpen his fangs to the point where the election is steel-proof. The numbers out there are pretty amazing in Trump's favor. Swing state poll, Emerson College released this morning. Trump talked about it when he got to court today. He talked about things he shouldn't have talked about, or he didn't talk about them soon enough. But he mentioned the Emerson poll, but he didn't go into details. Arizona, Trump up 4 with 8% undecided. Georgia, Trump up 3, 9% undecided. Michigan, Trump up 1, 11% undecided. Nevada, Trump up 1, 11% undecided. North Carolina, Trump up 5, 10% undecided. Pennsylvania, Trump up 2, 8% undecided. Wisconsin, Trump up 2, same, 8% undecided. But here's what Trump talked about when he got to court today. This is the first 70 seconds of his address to people who are waiting for him to appear at his trial in Manhattan. It goes on and on and on and on. And I know it's red meat for those of you who, like me, can see that Trump is being persecuted, that he's not being prosecuted, he's being persecuted. I understand that. You've heard it before. Admittedly, don't even you zone out a little bit? So we go for 70 seconds of that, and then we follow it up with this. Okay, we get it. It's a sham trial. You've made your point. You raise the polls. That's fine. You can raise the polls. But how about you come out more focused on what everybody in America is talking about? He finally got to it. It took him 2.5 minutes to get here. Okay, don't bring up Charlottesville because you're not going to get a fair hearing on that. You're just not, okay? It's been mischaracterized. We all get it, but don't bring it up. Don't give the enemy ammunition. There's a way to do this. And he kind of, he like nibbles around the edges of how to do it. You come out and you say this. Thanks for coming out to the court today. I'm ready to go in and defend myself against these sham charges. America is on to the game of Alvin Bragg and Joe Biden and the Democrats. The Emerson polls today show that. I love New York City. I helped build the New York City skyline. What's going on at Columbia just up the road from here is reprehensible. Joe Biden will do nothing about it. Joe Biden has said nothing about it. He's incapable of debating. He says he wants to debate. Let's debate tomorrow. Let's put this trial on hold and do it now. I had the wrong bottom third on the screen. Voting recommendations, Madison County. We're way past that. Sorry about that. Yeah, I maybe Trump's uncoachable. I don't know. But, man, like, dude, focus. You got so much ammunition. Like, you got so much ammunition. Focus. Make it about Biden. I know it's not in his nature, but make it about Biden. How is this possible that Biden can, like, go without even addressing the unrest on college campuses? How's that possible?
In our first year partnering with Salem Surround, we recorded our best year to date, and I told many people how blessed I was to find them. The representative answered the phone every time I called and quickly addressed any questions or concerns I have. Let Salem Surround give you an absolutely free audit of your current marketing and show you what your competition is doing. Then, we come up with a personalized plan that's perfect for your needs. Google Salem Surround Columbus and let our marketing experts help you achieve real success. Remember to Google Salem Surround Columbus today.
The Caribbean is calling. Dennis Prager here. I invite you to join me on a Bible cruise this November in the Caribbean. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. We'll cruise to the vibrant islands of Half Moon Cay, Curacao, Bonaire, and more while making unforgettable memories with like-minded travelers. Stroll through Curaçao's iconic pastel-colored shops and snorkel in Bonaire's world-class coral reefs. You'll enjoy some of the most delicious cuisine aboard Holland America's Rotterdam, a fantastic destination itself with riveting shows and spectacular views. This experience is more than a vacation. It's a chance to participate in profound discussions. The fresh insights I will share with you about the books of the Bible and current events should energize and challenge you. Mark your calendars, November 29th to December 8th, 2024. Learn more and secure your spot on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure by calling 855-565-5519 or booking online at PragerBibleCruise.com.
Hey guys, ever wonder if ED might be silently impacting your performance? ED goes beyond limiting your performance. It can also lead to anxiety, embarrassment, and a lack of confidence. At Ultrafarm RX, getting started is free, and you can get FDA-approved medication like Viagra or Cialis within 2 minutes, all 100% online. With lightning-fast, discreet shipping, Ultrafarm RX is different from other corporate telehealth companies. We don't require tedious doctor-to-patient communication. There are no awkward doctor visits, and there are 0 hidden fees. Breeze through our simple 2-minute health questionnaire, and you're done. Once approved, your genuine U.S. manufactured medication ships the same day. Elevate your performance now and unlock what you've been missing out on. Just go to ultrafarmrx.com and supercharge your performance today. That's Ultrafarm RX. Ultrafarm RX.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small thing can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, fragrant smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. To the side, and the entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
You know, I remember years ago when I bought my first house, I had a bunch of bushes around the front that I wanted out, and I started digging them out myself, and my dad was like, what are you doing? Hire somebody to do that. You're going to ruin your body. And I'm like, I'm young, I'm strong, I can handle this. Well, turns out he was right, because I did ruin my right shoulder to the point that I eventually had to have shoulder replacement surgery. Sometimes it's better to listen to wise advice. So here's my wise advice for you. If you have arthritis, if you have pain in a joint, elbow, knee, back, hip, ankle, wherever it is, and it's keeping you from doing what you want to do, take my advice and take advantage of the free consultation at QC Kinetics. They are local health professionals, and they help you concentrate the healing agents in your own body, re-inject them in your body. Your body will make more. That's the miracle of your body. It's made to heal itself. And then, well, look at that. My pain is gone, and I can go back to doing what I love to do. Advanced regenerative medicine, they call it. It's phenomenal, and you can find out more. QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. QC Kinetics, I said, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. So maybe Donald Trump's just uncoachable. Like maybe they tell him, Mr. President, go out there, don't talk about the trial, go out there and talk about Biden going up the street at Columbia, what's going on. You can win on this. This is a winning issue for you. Don't talk about yourself, even though everybody knows you're being railroaded. Everybody knows this is a joke. You don't need to make the point, right? It's always better to have other people say things about you than to have you say things about you. And Trump has like ample ammunition from the protesters themselves. So Lawrence Jones from Fox went up to the Columbia campus today after they took over this building on campus, bashed their way in, and kept 3 janitors who were inside the building when the windows were broken and they forced their way in. They kept 3 janitors from leaving. So Lawrence Jones goes up to Columbia this morning and he finds this female protester. She's wearing the Hamas scarf around her shoulders. And just listen to the depth, equivalent to that of a shallow wading pool, in this woman when she's confronted with the facts of what is going on at Columbia. Oh, can you get out of my face, please? Because get out of my face with the facts, Lawrence. Come on. I don't want to answer any facts. I don't want to have to answer for October 7th. Just like October the 7th happened and they want you to totally forget about it. First of all, it's justified because the Israelis are colonizers, right? The irony here is not lost upon Jonathan Turley, legal analyst on Fox. Yeah, it is the ultimate demonstration of privilege. You know what else is the ultimate demonstration of privilege? Is that you go to Columbia, like this fool, Kamani James, the other day, who talked about, if you come at me, I'll murder you. I'm all Zionists or fascists, and they're Nazis, and they need to be murdered. Let me refresh your memory. Zionists don't deserve to live comfortably, let alone Zionists don't deserve to live. The same way we are very comfortably accepting Nazis who don't deserve to live, fascists don't deserve to live, racists don't deserve to live, Zionists, they shouldn't live in this world. He's the leader of the Columbia University apartheid movement. He's a guy who got into a private high school because he checked the right intersectionality boxes. He says, well, now it's not fair for you to come at him because he's obviously, he says, black and queer. I mean, obviously I can tell he's black. I didn't know he's queer. I don't care. What does that have to do with anything? But it's like, you can't criticize me. These people at Columbus City Council last night. We demand that we not be arrested, that our charges be dropped. What? Who are you again? What? Did you break the law? Yeah, you did. Won't matter in Andrew Ginther's Columbus. Won't matter in Zach Klein's Columbus. Won't matter in Shannon Hardin's Columbus. But it's going to have to matter in November. Because if it doesn't matter in November, if we allow Joe Biden to get back in the White House, they're going to take this as confirmation that, you know what, America approves of what we're doing. They approve of the way we're using the FBI and the DOJ to spy on conservatives. They approve of the speech at Independence Hall where Joe Biden has got a Nazi-esque backdrop with Marines standing there to convey the message that, you know what, if you don't kowtow, you MAGA extremists, if you don't kowtow, we're going to send the military after you. If Biden wins, why would he not think that America, and why would the people who are actually running the Biden administration, because it's certainly not him, why would they not think that this is okay with the country? This is the problem in nominating Trump as the Republican nominee, in that you give the opposition the ammunition to win an election they otherwise would have no hope of winning. But that ship has sailed. It's left the harbor. It's gone. I'm not a Jim Garrity of National Review. I'm not a guy who's saying, well, I have purity problems with Trump, I'm not going to vote for him. I'm 100,000% Trump, because he's our best alternative. And if you know, see, look around and tell, your eyes don't lie to you, and you understand the gravity of the outcome of this election, and yet you still can't bring yourself to vote for Orange Man Bad, or the mean tweets, or the brusque nature, or the self-aggrandizing behavior, well, you're not fit for the battle that lies ahead, because you're just going to be the one who sits there and lets people steamroll you. Because when you had a chance to rise up and do something about it, you didn't. And I don't mean to be mean about it, but that's how important this is. You know, you see, first of all, there was a student yesterday at UCLA who was on his way to class, and he was barred from going to class by people dressed as Palestinian Hamas supporters. They wouldn't let him go by. Wouldn't let him go. Wouldn't let him go. And he said, you know, my parents are worried about my safety. People are starting to leave notes on my door. They found out where I live. Something bad's probably going to happen to me in the next couple days or weeks. And so he was asked, are you going to back down? You're going to back down. You're going to prioritize your personal safety over the bigger issue of, I'm Jewish, I should have a right to go to class. Here was his response. You got to have a clear view of the bigger picture. Maybe it's not about just you. Maybe it's about your children, your grandchildren, the kind of America you want to seed to them. It's something that requires serious thought.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be...
All right, in hour number 2, we're going to talk about student loan. What's the actual cost to a taxpayer of Biden's student loan? We'll have an update on the Ohio corrections officer who was shot to death in a horrible accident in training. And we will have more on what's going on in the State House and what the crazy leftists are accusing Republicans of doing, harming the transgender community. You know the drill, right? You can find that on the 9890 Answer Facebook page or the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. If you missed this, a part of it will be on Rumble later.